Hello, everybody. We have a win. Welcome to today's We Wonder. This is Chris Pfluger, your Chief Development Officer. And today's a little bit different since it's the holidays. We are revisiting a video we shot with our guest, Andrew Miscavige. Andrew, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good, Chris. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. I'll tell you what, Andrew's coming to us from New York City, and we are celebrating a gold medal win for our only we sponsored athlete out there right now. So Andrew had a gold medal win coming up a week and a half ago, and there's the picture. There he is right there. So Andrew, tell us a little bit about exactly what you won the gold medal in and who's with you.
So I just competed in the North American Cup, one of the qualifiers for World Championships or Olympics. And I was with my teammates from the Zeta Fencing Studio outside of Boston, Dima and Sergey. Dima is a world champion from Ukraine. He was with me all day. And so I had some great support to get me through.
I'll tell you what, this is a truly international sport, as we know. And the competitions, and we talked about this a few months ago, right? A month and a half ago, maybe.
Right.
You competed in the Olympics, and your goal leading up to this was to become an Olympian, and you did it. And then there were some decisions you had to make after the fact. Hey, listen, am I going to rededicate myself for another, in this case, 3 years to compete in the Olympics going forward and really dedicate that much time and effort in my life to becoming an Olympian, but trying to go for another gold, right? So, so that's the kind of decision. So how are you feeling today after a big win?
Good. I mean, you're only a day for you're a champion for a day. So I had some rest after that. Felt really good to win. Absolutely was really good competing. Great athletes to compete against, some teammates. But there's always another competition, so you just constantly got to be prepared for the next one.
Well, that's very humble of you, but you actually were in a bracket where there was 2 other Olympians competing against you. So this was not a walk in the park small tournament. This is a North American Cup, and it was the second one of the season. And that's an interesting point because you skipped the first one, right? You skipped the first one of the season. You didn't feel like you were ready yet. So tell us a little bit about that. So why'd you skip it?
The first one was in the beginning of the season. I was still recovering from competing in Tokyo. So physically and mentally, I just wasn't prepared. And those 2 things kind of go hand in hand. I mean, Chris, if your body isn't feeling right, in the back of your mind that you're not in the best physicality state to compete. So I just made the decision not to compete and just put in the extra work for the last competition. I just competed it in.
Right. So you moved, as part of this program, that you actually decided to move to New York City, right? You're from Boston, moved to New York City. You dedicated all your time and effort to make sure this happens. And so you're competing in, the Manhattan Fencing Center, which is, world renowned, right? There's a lot of Olympians have come out of the Manhattan Fencing Center, at least train there, right?
That's right.
And so you have other Olympians to train with on a day-to-day basis. And so, how often do you train at this point? I mean, I know the holidays are coming up. So barring the holidays, how often do you actually train at this point? Because it's almost year round, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. With the holidays now, things are a little more lenient with our practice schedule. But on the heart of things, in the meat of all of it, we'll be training 4 or 5 times a week, and that's just bouting. We also do private lessons. I do boxing on Thursdays to kind of switch things up. So it's in and out. You're throughout the whole entire week. You're constantly making sure that you're ready for the next practice and putting everything you can into it.
So I want to make sure everyone heard that, right? So there's 2 points there to be made, right? You are not only dedicating yourself and frequency training, moving things up, but consistency, right? In your performance comes down to what you did on the back end that no one ever sees, right? It's the training days that lead to, the championship. So was there anything that changed, for you mentally? It was just great bouts against tough competition. Anything that you felt like, hey, is there a point in the competition you think I'm going to win this? Or is it one bout at a time?
No, actually in my top 16 battle against my teammate, Eli Dershowitz, phenomenal fencer. And after winning that one, I kind of joked to my coach. I was like, hey, listen, I'm going to win today. And he was like, focus, Andrew. I said, no, come on, let's go grab a beer and come back and win the rest of the competition. But jokingly, but no, I did felt good after that bout. And I definitely felt like that mentally kind of kicked me forward. And I could believe that, listen, if I can beat this guy, I can beat anyone today. But I put back my headphones, do what I usually do, focus on the next bout, and just get in the zone.
There you go. Well, the other point I wanted to make, and I think everyone want to hear this, is you surround yourself with other top level talent, right? So there's always that saying that you're only as good as the top 5 people you surround yourself with. And moving to New York and surrounding yourself and actually getting Yuri, on a more frequent basis to coach you through this, probably doesn't hurt, right? So that probably elevates your level. And I'm sure there's days in practice where you just get crushed. This is a tough day, but it makes it better. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And at MFC, Manhattan Fencing Center, there are some great, phenomenal fencers there. So not every day goes your way. But you take everything as a learning lesson. Just because you lost a match doesn't count as a failure or that you failed. You should take everything as a learning lesson, whether you win or lose, and just use that as a motivational skill to just propel you forward and do better.
Fantastic. Well, there's one thing I had down here in my notes, and it was a little bit about goals. And I see it on the wall there. I see your USA, which is great. And again, you got your first goal down, right? So the first goal was you wanted to get to the Olympics. You did that over the summer. You went to Tokyo. That's phenomenal, right? So that's very cool. So now you made the decision, I'm going to go for the gold again in the next Olympics coming up. And I think that's in Paris, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So it's only 3 years. I mean, that's still a long time to prepare because everyone had a little COVID break there. And so now we're back at it. We're back at it again. So tell us a little bit about how you handle short-term versus long-term planning. Because you and I talked before this, and the way I look at it is, any major goal is a bunch of, like a bunch of small, like 1,000 short-term wins get you to the goal, right? So it's never you show up one day, we joked, I didn't take the summer off, gain 30 pounds, and then to condition for 10 minutes and then jump in. It's a consistency, but it's a bunch of small wins and that inconsistent focus to get you that big win. So what do you have on the wall there?
I have a whole wall of sticky notes of short-term goals, aspirations, long-term goals, reminders, and things I just look out when I'm at my desk doing work to just remind me, stay motivated and just keep me in the right headspace.
That's phenomenal. So your short-term goals, tell us about your short-term goals going into 2022, right?
Yeah.
We're in that season where everybody's making goals, right? They're setting their business plans together. And so, as an athlete, what do you have for your short-term goals coming up in 2022? And how does that really build that foundation towards your long-term goal?
Yeah. So I would say, Chris, the ambiguous part of an athlete's story is the cycle of an Olympic year. People think it's just, this summer the Olympics is going to happen. People qualify and just whoever qualifies goes. But it really is like a 3 this year with Paris coming up, 3 or 4 year plan. You want to make sure that those 4 years you're putting in the same kind of effort to mentally and physically prepare you for the Olympics. So for short-term goals, just constantly being on my A game and my short-term goal is definitely in the next year, bump up my international ranking, my world ranking. I've always been in the top 35, top 50 in the world, and I'm ready to kind of show my teeth and make it into the top 16.
Well, there you go. So that is going to build, each year as you go toward this. So that I think is a tremendous point for everybody out there. So it's not just 1 goal, 2 goals kind of thing. It's not even quarterly in a business component. It's how do you break down key wins to really help propel you to that top, that top channel that you're looking for. So, for us, from a We Insure perspective, obviously we had a lot of change this year. We were acquired and we're remerging. We're doing a whole bunch of stuff so we could continue that growth. We went from 2 states about in the beginning before COVID. Now we're in 27 states and we're looking to grow all 50 next year. Huge, tremendous hyper growth coming this. But the great news is it's good for everybody out there because obviously, as consumers, everybody needs insurance, right? So for us, it's been a tremendous ride in this year. And for you, it's been a tremendous ride. So 2021 is very memorable, different than 2020, which was memorable for a lot of bad reasons. So 2021 has been tremendous all the way around. And again, we are just so happy to be able to be associated with you and help share your story and follow you through this process as we go through. So, Andrew, I know took your COVID test, you got everything done, you're getting out of Manhattan, you're heading to Boston here for the holidays. So I just want to wish you happy holidays and thank you for joining us today and help celebrate that gold.
Yeah, and thank you to you, Chris, and We Insure for being part of the story and the journey. Love the support.
Absolutely. Well, happy holidays and have a great one.
You too, Chris.